big lie gets bigger and bigger. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's the 6th of May, 2025. And as always, legacy media, mainstream media, you screwed up. You did bad. Uh-oh. Guess what? You won't be trusted anymore. And I've been screaming that from the rooftops for 3 decades, folks. And yeah, they're living up to their reputation. Ain't no bow to doubt it. All right, where do we start today on this Tuesday? Yeah, Taco Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm going to start this show off like I've started many other shows off, and I'm going to remind you and keep on reminding you that the globalist plan, yeah, the elitists, you know, the oligarchs, you know, the blue bloods, they have a plan for us, and it's not good. They want many of us to vacate the premises. When I say vacate the premises, I mean exit the planet. I mean become unalived. That's what they want. And there ain't no doubt about it. You can say conspiracy theory all day long, and if you're screaming conspiracy theory, raise your hand and slap yourself with it. Ain't no doubt about it now. I mean, it's well documented. It's irrefutable. It's undeniable. And I've got a whole bunch of different clips here I want to share with you. There's a couple of topics I'm going to talk about today. I got so much stuff to deal with, but I mean, some of these we really got to hammer home. And if you're in agreement or even in disagreement, I want to hear from you. I'm going to open up the phone lines right away, 215-867-8255. If you think I'm blowing smoke, if you think I'm that crap crazy, fine. If you think I'm just a wackadoodle conspiracy theorist, fine. No problem. Let's discuss it. But I'm going to kick it off with a montage of some very well-known people. I mean, we're going to be hearing from, let me see, Bill Gates, of course, Larry Fink. We're going to hear from, I'm just going to play this. You'll recognize a lot of these voices. Now, again, this is all about reducing the global population. And anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and play this. You come to your own conclusions. And again, I'm here with the facts, with the audio receipts. You can back me into a corner. You're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, fine. I don't care. Raise your hand, slap yourself with it. Anyway, here's a montage of what these globalist attitudes are. Here we go.
Reducing population growth, that's this big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
Larry Fink.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in
Goodall.
clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Kamala Harris.
The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that. We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So in the next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
History teaches us that the next pandemic is a matter of when, not if.
We know what's next. We're going to have another major coronavirus pandemic before the end of this decade, before 2030.
If we really want to prevent the next pandemic, and there will be one, there will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic. It may be next year.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead.
We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1. We just need to mess around.
The EPA recently approved an experimental use permit to Oxitec, a biotech company funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In an effort to fight malaria, Oxitec will soon release millions of genetically modified mosquitoes in various U.S. states. Programs are being developed to allow human immunization via mosquito bite. It was Science magazine that coined the phrase. flying syringes.
Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a reason for concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or EEE, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of EEE this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Amazing. Now, this is not news. This is not news. They've been doing this for a long, long time. Back in the 90s, when I was married to Joyce and we were traveling all over the country and she was pulling up documents, they had been infecting mosquitoes. As a matter of fact, one of the documents that she had to do with West Nile virus. They released mosquitoes with West Nile virus in parts of Florida. This has been going on for a long time, folks. Now, again, they want to reduce the world population drastically. Drastically. Now, you just heard a montage. I mean, there was President Biden. You heard Kamala Harris. You heard Peter Hotez. You heard Anthony Fauci. You heard Bill Gates. Klaus Schwab. I mean, across the board, they are open about it. They're absolutely open about it. And there was an interview. Glenn Beck was talking to Whitney Webb. And let me see if I can pull that one up here. Where is that? Oh, gosh, I thought I had it right here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, here's Glenn Beck talking to Whitney Webb about global eugenics. Conspiracy theory, huh? Yeah, right. Here it is. Oh, God.
This is where it gets frightening.
Well, it's tied up with depopulation, right? You have this being sort of the new path of eugenics. And so, I don't think these people ultimately care about, how many people are left, right?
Smart and right.
Well, eugenics
Thank you.
I mean, well, people like to act like eugenics disappeared, and it hasn't. It's just rebranded. And if you look at the history, it's very clear, and it's very disconcerting.
That's why everything you're seeing that is coming out of policy all over the world, all of the World Economic Forum seems so Malthusian.
Look at Canada. The medically assisted death, originally it was going to be for terminally ill people. Now people are pitching it to homeless people in Canada saying, you're too poor to live. Do you want to kill yourself?
How do we not remember what happened last time?
Well, I think some of these people, you look at the Rockefellers, they funded what happened last time. These mergers, because there's many of them, of Silicon Valley companies and big pharma. They're framing it as healthcare, but it's eugenics being framed as healthcare. And it's really
terrifying.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's crazy. There's a lot of words for it, but ultimately it has to be stopped. And unfortunately, COVID has set this precedent where it can be mandatory, or where you can lose your livelihood, where you can not be able to travel. You can basically be placed under house arrest unless you agree to it.
If you don't, in the grand scheme of where we've all been upgraded, we're all part of the internet.
Upgraded.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's the intention. That's how they're selling it to people. If you look at this, for example, the British Eugenics Society, where a lot of this came from, you look at someone like H.G. Wells, best known as a science fiction writer, but also a avowed eugenicist. He predicted that in 100 to 200 years, there would be 2 human races. There would be the upgraded, augmented elite who were intellectual and attractive and, were the ones that did everything. And then a dwarf-like, troll-like, squat underclass that eats bugs. And, for people that have been paying attention, it seems like, they're selling this as one way. It's all going to be a utopian thing if we all upgrade. I mean, that's how it's being framed, right? But if you look at how these people think, they don't want that. They're looking at feudalism and how do you create a class of slaves that cannot even cognitively rebel ever again.
Yeah. You can never rebel once you've been, shall we say, altered or manipulated or what have you, or just unalived. These are the plans, and they're coming at us from several different angles. Now, you just heard this issue about eugenics from Whitney Webb. We've also heard many different clips about depopulation, and like I just said, there are many different methodologies that they're using to reduce the population. One of which. There was a Dr. Kimberly Bliss who basically in her practice, she found an 80% increase in miscarriages. Now, could this possibly be because of the hokey pokey thingy dingy? Let's give a listen to Dr. Kimberly Bliss. Here she is.
Now that people are getting the documents from the trials, there were bad outcomes, and the miscarriage rate was 80% in the Pfizer trials. They knew that.
Dr. Kimberly Bliss is a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist. She's grown her Florida private practice to a 5-provider group that delivers roughly 300 babies a year. Once the COVID-19 genetic vaccines rolled out in 2021, she observed some disturbing trends in her patients.
I noticed that my miscarriage rate from year to year had gone up by 100%.
She began tracking and comparing her data in real time and made waves when she published her findings on Dr. Jessica Rose's Substack in 2022.
A lot of medical schools, over 50 to 60% of their money probably comes from Big Pharma.
Yeah, Big Pharma's paying for it. Isn't this amazing? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, this world has gone absolutely bat crap crazy. And what's even more bat crap crazy is the simple fact that most people, they don't want to hear this. I know this is uncomfortable. But again, if you're not going to defeat the monster unless you're willing to stare it in the eyes. Simple as that. We have to get busy. And if this is a government of, by, and for the people, where do you think we're going to head if the people just don't participate? Where do you think we're going to be? Well, guess what? Look around you. This is where we're at because most people don't want to get involved. Most people have been intellectually neutered and neutralized. Oh, you can't fight City Hall. You've heard that one. I'm only one person. You heard that one. What can I do? Yeah, there's another one. Oh, I don't want to listen to the news. It's too depressing. Yeah, there you go. And it goes on and on. Point is, folks, we have to face the fact that this is what their game plan is. And they're, like I said, they're coming at us at several different angles. Okay, you just heard Dr. Kimberly Bliss, and there is another doctor, Dr. Arne Burkhardt, I believe his name is, and he has a pretty heavy accent. I don't know if he's Austrian or where he's from, but and I played this clip a couple days ago. It's worth repeating because these hokey pokey thingy dingies that they've been screwing around with the world population have affected the sperm in males. What do you suppose that's going to do? If all of a sudden your sperm is being replaced with lipid particles, that's not a good thing. Here's Dr. Arne Burkhardt, I believe it is.
More or less
Burkhardt.
Explicitly, and here you see a case where we show the testes, and you can see that in this 28-year-old man who had a healthy son and who died 140 days after injection, the spike protein is strongly expressed in the spermatogenic organ in the testis, and you can see there are almost no spermatocytes in here, but it's strongly expression of spike protein in the spermatogonic tissue. So also in elder persons, this is an old man, and you can see here's also a strong expression in the spermatogonia. There's not one single spermatozoon in this, and a strong expression of the spike protein. So if I may make a personal comment, this is not a scientific comment. If I were a woman in fertile age, I would not plan a motherhood from a man who has been vaccinated, unless...
Did you hear that, folks?
I think these pictures are very disturbing, very disturbing.
He just warned women, if you are of child-rearing age and you want to start a family, do not marry a guy that's had the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. That's basically what he said. Now, again, this is not conspiracy theory. I'm here with the audio receipts. I'm not making this stuff. This is not an editorial comment. I'm just looking at all the facts and listening. I'm here, WTF, with the facts. And after hearing those facts, if you exclaim WTF with a different meaning, you have every reason to do so. We have to somehow, I don't know why people aren't in the streets. I don't know why people aren't, protesting and screaming this stuff from the rooftops. Have we been all that intellectually neutered? And like I said, they're coming at us from so many different angles. Let me see if I've got another one here having to do with the hokey pokey thingy dingy. I hate to be, I know that sounds silly, but that's okay. All right, let's see here. The other issue. Oh, yes. So if they're coming at us with a hokey pokey thingy dingy, and then, of course, there's this real push for global warming and climate change and all this stuff, and we have to reduce the carbon footprint. They've actually convinced people that carbon dioxide is a bad thing. And the fact that the humanity has increased the carbon dioxide level and the carbon dioxide level is less than 1%. It's only changed like 100th or 200th of a percent as a result of the pollution, et cetera, et cetera. But somehow they've convinced the entire globe that we have to go along with all of these globalist plans to reduce your carbon footprint. And that's what these smart cities are going to be based upon. And that's what all this surveillance is based upon. But it's all garbage. It's horse hockey. It's snake snot. It's bullcrap. It really is. But as far as this weather modification, before I get into the weather modification, I wanted to get back into this thing about, where is it here? They're releasing these mosquitoes. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, we were covering this thing. They were releasing mosquitoes in Florida with West Nile virus decades and decades ago. So they're releasing all these mosquitoes. Let me see if I've got that news story here. Where is it? Okay, I'm not going to bother looking for it right now. But the point is that they're using the excuse, that they're trying to, of course, improve the environment, and of course they're trying to prevent people from getting all these diseases, et cetera, et cetera. And it's funny because the more effort that they make to prevent disease, quote unquote, there's more disease. And I remind you, here's Title 50, Chapter 32, Section 1520. Entitled Restrictions on Use of Human Subjects for Testing of Chemical or Biological Agents. Now, I read directly from the code. Prohibited activities. The Secretary of Defense may not conduct directly or by contract, 1, any test or experiment involving the use of a chemical agent or biological agent on the civilian population, or 2, any other testing of a chemical agent or a biological agent on human subjects. Okay, so those are prohibited activities. You cannot experiment using chemical or biological agents on a civilian population or any other testing of a chemical or biological agent on human subjects. Sounds pretty good. Sounds like it protects you. And it would have if there weren't the exceptions. And here is Section B, the exceptions to that rule. And I read, Subject to subsection C, D, and E of the prohibition in subsection A does not apply to a test or experiment carried out for any of the following purposes. Okay, so those protections do not apply for 1, any peaceful purpose that is related to a medical, therapeutic, pharmaceutical, or agricultural, industrial, or research activity. Oh, really? Number 2, any purpose that is directly related to protection against toxic chemicals or biological weapons and agents. Number 3, any law enforcement purpose, including any purpose related to riot control. In other words, the exceptions are: you cannot experiment with biological or chemical agents on human subjects except when the sun comes up. That's what it boils down to. They gave themselves carte blanche to do anything that they want with this. Again, you can look it up. It's Title 50, Chapter 32, Section 1520A. Look it up. Do your research. Furthermore, in Public Law 102-85, dated November 18th in 1997, it reads, and this is Section 1078, restrictions on the use of human subjects for Title 50, Section 1520, there it is, they're referring to it, prohibited activities. The Secretary of Defense may not conduct directly or by contract any test or experiment involving the use of chemical, biological agents, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm reading directly from that document, and it reads word for word what Title 50 said. And that's in Public Law 102-85. So it's codified into law in two different locations, that they can do this to you anytime that they want. So what are the different methodologies? Okay, again, we kicked this program off reminding you good listeners, that the globalist plan is to reduce the population, period. And again, that was etched in the Georgia Guidestones. This is their open plan. They're not hiding this. It's just that people aren't looking at it. So the bottom line here is that they're going to use any and all methods possible to reduce the population. And that includes promoting transsexualism, gayness. I mean, because gays don't have kids. Transsexuals don't have kids. So this is another reason why they promote this. I mean, like I said, they're going to come at you from every different angle. Now, we get into this issue about weather control. Now, I mentioned that yesterday. I mean, common sense would tell you if they can control the weather, would they give you good weather or would they give you bad weather? Common sense, folks. If they gave you good weather, imagine the abundance of crops we would have all across the wheat belt. We wouldn't have to worry about tornadoes and hurricanes and floods and all that kind of stuff. What would happen to the price of food if all of a sudden food was abundant? They don't want that to happen. No. They've got to get that money. They need the money. Okay, what would happen if they didn't have any tornadoes or hurricanes? That means they wouldn't have to rebuild after all this horrible destruction. What would happen to all of the electrical workers, plumbers, technicians, carpenters, all the people who supply, the materials for the supplies for rebuilding, lumber, shingles, all that stuff. And then there's the insurance companies. Oh, my goodness. So you can start to see that, if the powers that be have the ability to manipulate the weather, well, what incentive do they have to give you good weather? The answer? They don't. And if you think that that's craziness, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you listen to former CIA Director John Brennan when he was addressing the Council on Foreign Relations in regard to weather modification. Here is former CIA Director John Brennan addressing the Council on Foreign Relations.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community. On the technical side, greenhouse gas emission reductions would still have to accompany SAI to address other climate change effects, such as ocean acidification, because SAI alone would not remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. On the geopolitical side, the technology's potential to alter weather patterns and benefit certain regions of the world at the expense of other regions could trigger sharp opposition by some nations. Others might seize on SAI's benefits and back away from their commitment to carbon dioxide reductions. And as with other breakthrough technologies, global norms and standards are lacking to guide the deployment and implementation of SAI and other geoengineering initiatives.
Yep. You might have noticed that he was talking about an effort to block the sun. Yeah, because we got this global warming thing happening. Well, are you aware that Bill Gates is working with the UK government, and they're going to start blocking the sun over England? Oh, this is brilliant, okay? This is just great. Now, what do you suppose is going to happen to the crops? Okay, and that will lead to food shortages. Again, everything that they're doing is aimed at reducing the world population. This is what they're doing. And if you don't see it yet, you're just not looking hard enough. But weather modification is very, very real. Here's another clip. And again, I apologize. I know this is hard to face. But this is why I'm here with the audio receipts. I'm here with the facts. Now, here's another little piece of information in regard to weather modification. Here it is.
A lot of new people who want to know what this is and why it's happening. Can you give us an introduction?
Yeah, again, the term geoengineering, aka chemtrails, the layman's term for what we see happening in the skies, but this is weather modification on a global scale. In fact, these programs are so large and so all-encompassing that all other weather modification programs that go on a smaller regional basis are they're negated by the scope and scale of the global geoengineering programs. And these programs involve a number of aspects. You have the saturation of the atmosphere with various chemical and metal particulates. And there appear to be various purposes and objectives with this saturation. In conjunction with the saturation, which ionizes the atmosphere, it makes the atmosphere more conductive, we have the HAARP facilities, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. These are ionosphere heaters. Many have heard of the HAARP facilities. There's not just one or two or three. We believe there's at least 18 around the globe, possibly with 3 more being built in Antarctica right now. And once the atmosphere is saturated with these particulates, and then you add the ionosphere heaters, the entire weather system globally is virtually being thwarted. There is no natural weather at this point, and we really don't know what sort of climate conditions we would have necessarily if these programs were brought to a halt, and they desperately need to be brought to a halt because the saturation of the atmosphere is thwarting the hydrological cycle. It's totally disrupting the rain cycle. Again, we have the artificially nucleated snowstorms, which I just mentioned. You can't go from 100 degrees to snow in one day without a whole lot of help. This includes jet stream manipulation with the HAARP facilities, and we are not guessing at this. We have monitoring sources for this signal, and we can see where the signal is most intense, and that's what steers the jet stream. So then you add artificial ice nucleation, which is a chemical nucleation process. They can turn what should have been rain into snow and drop the temperatures of these storm systems by this artificial chemical nucleation. This isn't sci-fi. This is hard science fact.
This is not sci-fi. It's hard science fact. That's what it is. As a matter of fact, Colonel Douglas McGregor was interviewing a guy by the name of Dana Wigington, excuse me, I got that wrong. And he just came flat out and explained that these weather bombs, which is what they are being weaponized. Now, we have to take a look at Hurricane Helene. A lot of folks, what the devastation that Western North Carolina and surrounding areas had were absolutely devastating. And then FEMA dragged its feet and actually blocked help from coming in there. Why do you suppose they did that? Well, it's not just to reduce the population, but they also want to rape the natural resources of that area. Yeah, there's a lot of quartz, and there are a lot of other elements there that they want to get their teeth into. But they have to remove the indigenous population, get rid of all those people so they can strip mine. But anyway, here's Colonel Douglas McGregor and Dane Wigington talking about what the conclusion that they came to when it came to Hurricane Helene. Here it is.
If you can do so, could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They're trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and they've got many installations just like HAARP all over the globe. All over the globe, folks. This is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. Well, some people are getting smart to it. As a matter of fact, Governor DeSantis down there in Florida and many others have banned weather modification in their state. Here it is.
Seeing these lines in the sky, some believe these are concerning chemtrails and others just call it a conspiracy theory.
Either way, Florida lawmakers took a big step toward what they call banning weather manipulation today. Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders looks into the plan and also what's next.
It was last year between Hurricanes Helene and Milton, GOP firebrand and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had this viral post. She claimed the federal government was controlling the weather, stoking conspiracy theories that the White House was trying to influence the 24 election. The idea was quickly denounced by politicians on the right and left, but about a month later, State Senator Ileana Garcia filed SB 56, banning weather modification in Florida.
28 yeas, 9 nays, Mr. President.
So the bill passes. And Thursday, it passed the full Senate.
This is about protecting Florida's environment and public health. With no federal guidelines in place, Florida must take responsibility for its own airspace.
If signed into law, the bill bans the release of chemicals, substances, or use of a device to affect temperature, weather, climate, or intensity of sunlight. Anyone who does so faces a third-degree felony. The Department of Environmental Protection, tasked with enforcement, even getting a hotline where the public can report suspicions.
What I don't want is for a loophole to continue to grow, and that we have something as powerful as weather and weather modification to be weaponized.
Things like cloud seeding are real. In places where extra water is needed or helpful, scientists use silver iodide to push rain clouds into raining. CNN recently highlighted the benefits.
The hydroelectric power company says that last year's cloud seeding program has provided a 300% return.
How many homes can that power? Like, what are you getting out of that?
On average, that's in excess of 60,000 homes.
Supporters of the ban say there just isn't enough science out there yet and would rather wait before allowing this kind of stuff to continue.
And listen, whether you believe this is a big deal or not a big deal, the best thing about this bill is after it's implemented, you will know.
The governor's a fan too, but has an issue with a more moderate version over in the Florida House.
And they would actually codify the practice of geoengineering and weather modification. People got a lot of kooky ideas that they can get in and put things in the atmosphere to block the sun and save us from climate change. We're not playing that game in Florida.
Opponents, meanwhile,
I'm afraid that we're legislating on some of these tinfoil theories, as you described.
State Senator Tina Polsky said lawmakers are just moving too fast.
I'm not, denying that there might be something going on. It's just we have to have the right methodology to take care of it. And, that's what we do in state government. It's not right for us to just slap on fines or, penalties for folks if we don't really know what we're doing.
Yeah, if we don't know what we're doing. All right, we're going to pause for the cause here. I'll be right back. Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now, the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary. And if you want to find out the scientific data about Get More Tank, visit the website, getmoretank.com. All the data is there. And when you make the decision to purchase Get More Tank, and I would hope that you do, go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Visit our sponsors and advertisers page, and you'll get a 10% discount. You won't be sorry, because after you've used that, just after one purchase, you'll be saving money. If you're getting anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage, you think about that. You get 5 tablets in a package. If you're getting 20% better mileage, that means that the 5th tank is free. Let's see. You spend $20 and you save a tank of gas. How much is a tank of gas? $50? $60? Depending upon where you are. It's a no-brainer, folks. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Visit our sponsors page and Get More Tank. In the meanwhile, I'm trying to rattle people's cages and say, you've got to pay attention. You've got to stare the beast in the eyes if you want to defeat it. And I wrote a song about that about 25 years ago. Here it is.
Go ahead and watch your show. Don't try to learn, don't try to know what's going on around you. Channel surf and watch your game a world away. It's not the same. The difference will astound you. Turn away, deny your fear, and believe it won't happen here. The news is too depressing and the facts are too distressing. So look away, say it ain't so. Close off your mind so you won't know. Ignore the problems that need solving, and while your world's slowly dissolving, look away. And while you're lying in your bed, don't think of all the people dead who were innocent of any crime. Another world, another time. You've been convinced that you're just one. There's not a thing you can get done, and so you live inside a bubble because you don't want any trouble. But there's so much we can get done, a million multiples of one. And when you see it all around you, what we accomplish will astound you. Your destiny depends on you. You'll be surprised what you can do, but you can never visualize if you don't open up your eyes. Open your eyes. And now the time has finally come. We can't be blind or deaf or dumb. It's our responsibility to look around and think and see. I know you're frightened, yes, you're scared, but we must all soon be prepared. Your greatest challenge is before you, and your survival will depend on the fact that you will never look away. Yes, your survival will depend on the fact that you will never look away. Don't look away, don't look away, don't look away. Don't look away, don't look away, don't look away. Don't look away, don't look away, don't look away. Don't look away, don't look away, don't look away. Don't look away, don't look away, please don't look away. Please don't look away.
And you know, the sad fact is that the globalists are betting on the fact that you will not pay attention. And they know you won't. They, at least the majority of the people out there that, are in the mainstream, or shall we say the normies that are out there, yeah, they're not looking. They're not paying attention. They don't want to. They're sticking their head in the sand. And when you stick your head in the sand, your butt's still vulnerable. Anyway, I'm here to inspire and to inform. That's my job. I was charged with that years and years ago. For whatever reason, I became, a truth seeker. And I'm not stupid. I'm not crazy. And I don't lie. And as a matter of fact, the liner note in my first album said, if you become aware of a lie and you do nothing to expose that lie, you become part of that lie. And I will not allow the lies to perpetuate. And at least not in my world anyway. So anyway, I want to hear from you. If you're out there and you want to belly up to the phone bar, do it right now. Go ahead. Pick it up. Pick up that phone. Give me a call. 215-867-8255. That's 215-867-8255. Okay, and I don't mean to be depressing with all this news and everything, but again, we can't look away from it. We have to pay attention. Because like I just said, when you got your head in the sand, your butt's exposed. And they're counting on that. Absolutely. Anyway, in other news, with this election that happened last week up there in Canada, our neighbors to the north, the folks in Alberta are getting really PO'd. They're really, and guess what? Saskatchewan is joining the chorus there. Their government in the east has really got them, shall we say, got their knickers in a bunch. And well, they should. So, anyway, I just wanted to point that out there. Let me see. I've got a little clip here. Let's see if this is going to play. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on here. Again, this is, this is an article written by Jim Ferguson here. Let me share this with you. Premier Danielle Smith just delivered the most powerful speech Canada has heard in decades. Quote, Alberta will not be shackled to Ottawa's failures. We will chart our own course. In a rousing address that electrified the province, Smith laid out a bold vision of independence, prosperity, and defiance against Mark Carney's radical net zero agenda. There it is, net zero. It's that globalist thing. Yeah, they got to get rid of that carbon dioxide that makes all the plants grow. And then the plants give us oxygen. Yeah, you got to get rid of all that carbon dioxide so we can kill the plants. The West has woken up and it's done taking orders. What this means is that Alberta is done funding Eastern elitism while its oil, jobs, and freedoms are sacrificed on the altar of climate extremism. There it is. Danielle Smith is rallying the people not for rebellion, but for revival. The prairies are rising. This wasn't just a speech. It was a declaration of intent. We'll work with Canada, Smith said, but we will not be ruled by it. If Ottawa won't change course, Alberta will lead its own way. Way to go, Premier Smith. Anyway, she gave a rousing speech. It's about 16 minutes long. I'm not going to play it here. But yeah, our neighbors to the north are rising up, and it's not just Alberta. Like I said, Saskatchewan is jumping in there. So, yeah, things are moving. Things are happening. Let's see here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Canada is heating up. Let me see. This is a post from the Disrespected Trucker, and let me see what they have to say there. Yeah, the headline here. Hundreds gather in Edmonton to call for separation from Canada. Listen to this one here. Oh, my goodness.
Separation arrived on the steps of the Alberta legislature. Hundreds gathered to advocate for independence, while Indigenous groups stood in opposition. CTV's Kathy Lee on the growing divide.
The sound reverberated off the stone walls of the Alberta Legislature building. Hundreds supporting the separatist movement gathered in Edmonton, denouncing federal policies.
We have been dominated by Eastern politicians and Eastern politics. Our resources have been landlocked.
And pushing Alberta's autonomy.
If I have a vote, resounding yes.
An Angus Reid poll conducted before the election found 30% of Albertans would vote to separate from Canada if the Liberals were re-elected. This week, Premier Danielle Smith introduced legislation making it easier for voters to force a referendum. A group is mobilizing the public to register their intent to vote yes on that referendum.
I believe we've reached about 100,000.
With the rally happening in front of the legislature, Indigenous groups are also here expressing their discontent with talks of separatism.
You have to cause disruption, eruption, and distortion.
First Nations leaders across Alberta and Saskatchewan and members of the Indigenous community say the bill breaches their treaty rights.
We're here protecting the land and the resources. When treaties were made, there was a sacred covenant between our people and the Crown, and they're not being honored today.
They seem to think that they can just do whatever they want, trash talk us and trash talk the treaties. It is going to be a battle.
Smith, fresh off a meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney, in which she called their conversation a first positive step, reiterated on her weekend show her stance on the bill.
The First Nations have a special relationship with the Crown, a special relationship through treaty, and none of anything we are proposing would ever violate that.
With the UCP majority, the bill is expected to pass. What happens after that remains to be seen. But what is clear here is a deepening ideological divide. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Edmonton.
Yeah, our neighbors to the north, I tell you, they're staring the beast in the face. What about us? What about the Americans? How come we're not doing it? Huh? How come we don't do that kind of stuff? Well, maybe that's because we've been dumbed down. Could be. I don't know. What do you think? Again, 215-867-8255. I got about 5 minutes left in the show if you want to join me. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Modern American Song. Yeah, is your head stuck in the sand? I hope not.
Well, I'm an American and I've got rights as long as my government says so. And I can do anything I want as long as I get a license or a permit. And the things that I own debt-free. As long as I pay tax, they won't take them from me. Yeah, I'm in control of my destiny. At least that's what they tell me. Yeah, I've got the right of redress, but they don't have to answer. And I can ask any questions I want as long as it doesn't make them look bad. Because here in America, the government answers to me unless it's a question of national security. Yeah, I can say anything I want as long as I agree with them.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's stop that music there because I do have a caller. And let's see who we got there. All right. Welcome to the program, caller. Who are you and where are you calling from?
It's Carolyn, California again. Yeah, we've been dumbed down and brainwashed.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Not to mention the food. I mean, they make you sick. You know, oh, man. This whole campaign of the depopulation probably started way back with the food. I mean, not to mention everybody making money off us. Sick and dead.
Oh yeah, I have another clip that I had in the wings here. That 80% of our meat now is injected with mRNA technology. You can't get rid of it. If they can't stick a needle in your arm, they're going to stick a needle in your food.
Or make you breathe, or like you said, the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So you've got the receipts on the. I've heard about it, but I don't. It's not like, they broadcast public knowledge. Now, I agree with you that what their agenda is clear. I heard their clips. They're saying out loud, like, how do they not interpret that as they want you dead?
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. And then the other is this whole, now I'd heard the injection. I mean, they're forcing, so, I mean, I think more than half of the problem. These people are evil. It's clear. They got their agendas. They've been wanting to do this for how many thousands or decades anyway, or centuries. And now it's just coming out to where they're finalizing their plan here and coming down to the wire is they're there. It's us. Like, why aren't Americans? What? Oh, I don't know, because they've got their nice cars in Starbucks and they can't fathom not having, back in, it wasn't that long ago, the Depression, when our parents, had to scrape for food. and grow their own food to survive. You know, but we didn't have the damn chemtrails and all the technology to kill us. It's not obvious. They don't understand what a do is because they don't see it, but they can't do the math. I'm just sick of it. You know, thank God for you and everybody like you that are leaders trying to wake us up. But I frankly, you know what? I don't have a lot of hope. You have a lot of faith. I appreciate that. But I am looking at the monster, you know, in its eyes. And it's like, I'm like, oh, crap. You know, what, we're playing chicken? But I feel the monster's more powerful. The monster's more powerful because they've got all these weapons. I mean, I'm some chick down here with a couple of maybe self-defense items. And, you know, I'm like, what, one or two people? Maybe we could form a little militia based on the Constitution. A little late for that, too, but we better get with it, huh?
Yeah, well, they've got weapons that go so far beyond anything that the American people have in their hands. I mean, I don't care if you've got an AK or an AR.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that, as you are aware of, there's stuff that they've been using, taking the intel from UFOs or whoever. They've got all an arsenal. Even Trump mentioned it. And I'm feeling the same way about Trump as you are. I'm like, high hopes. They're going to keep us out of trouble the best he could. And now he's going for the data center. You listen to Webb, like you mentioned Whitney Webb talking about Matt. Boy, she hits it out of the park, doesn't she? No, it's not going to help the middle class. So what do you think, boss? You want to play the clip? Man, I'll shut up.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting for the Diddy list to come out. That somebody posted online that there's a partial list that came out. Where's the Epstein list? And again, I played I played that yesterday. The only way to stop the sex trafficking is to go after the consumers. You can go after the traffickers and you can arrest them, but there'll always be someone to come and replace them. You've got to go after the consumers and expose them.
But the problem is, I think it's kind of clear, the consumers are in positions of power.
Exactly.
I'm not saying Dan Bongino isn't maybe just protecting his interests, like you say. Was it blackmail, coercion, and what was the other one?
Bribery.
There you go. So maybe they got his in a knot, you know, for something or other, because he's saying, I don't know, maybe they're in, where are they? He says he doesn't know.
Yeah, some Middle Eastern country. Oh, gosh, which one is it? I can't figure that out, man. Okay.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder whose butt they're kissing.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell. I wonder where their connections are. Could it be Yemen? Could it be, you know, Sudan? Could it be, you know, Arabia? What? Come on, guys. What the heck's wrong with you, Bongino?
And you know, and looking really bad too. I'm not sure if it was you that said you were going to do somebody said they were going to do like a genealogy on these, were they coasters or whatever they're called? I don't know the whole language, but the bad guys, how far back it goes, how the bloodline. I think you even mentioned that, like they're all, you know, sleeping with each other because you know, want to keep the bloodline pure. And this whole thing, the more it's almost like there's that point, and you actually were instrumental for me because I've listened and watched and go, uh-oh. But you're helping me personally put those dots together into a picture, okay? You know, and so that picture, if we connected the dots, if we literally have a chart connecting the dots from who to who to who to who, I think it would be really obvious, you know, and there would be shock, you know, beyond to say, what the hell? I mean, the only thing that you would hope is that maybe he's holding his card. But
I don't know.
Surveillance, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't feel too good about that surveillance, all the data centers. And that now the majority of the meat, you know, you look at these meat eaters, it's like I'm just going, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say the mother effer word, you know. I'm just very angry.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, but the music's playing, which means we're flat out of time. Carolyn, thank you so much for calling in and participating, and I hope you'll do so again.
Thank you. I'm trying to reach out on your website, get a hold of you, and buy some products.
Please do. Okay, thanks so much. Gotta go.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, atta girl. Thank you so much. And if you're enjoying the broadcast, well, support us. Go to our website, The WTF Reports. Get some merch. Get a coffee cup, a T-shirt, a baseball cap. Get some Get More Tank, or maybe even get a Wave Watch. You won't be sorry for that. Anyway, that said, we're done. We're finished. We are out of here. So I have to say goodbye. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Stay safe. And above all, stay free. And we'll see you tomorrow.